coordinators, heartily welcome you all to the 5 days faculty development program and the training program on innovative teaching and learning pedagogy. Together, we embark on this educational journey made possible through the collaborative efforts of the Research Foundation of India and RFI-CARE, along with the generous sponsorship of Eklavya University, JHERF, ARGA, and Edu Academic Inc. Before we delve into discussions, let me shed light on the commendable endeavors undertaken by the Research Foundation of India, dedicated to the upliftment of society and the enhancement of educational standards. RFI channels its efforts into promoting Indian research through a myriad of events, including international and national conferences, seminars, workshops, symposiums, and various other activities. RFI serves as a catalyst for the integration of intellectual ideas globally, striving to satiate humanity's thirst for innovation. At its core, RFI is deeply committed to enhancing the educational process by fostering scholarly inquiry and facilitating the practical application of research outcomes. Furthermore, RFI spearheads research and development initiatives in higher education, forging strategic partnerships through Memorandum of Understanding with leading universities across India. Its membership comprises faculty, researchers, graduate students, and distinguished professionals, all contributing their rich and diverse expertise to the field of educational research. It's noteworthy that RFI operates independently of governmental sponsorship, ensuring its autonomy and integrity in organizing over 1,000 international conferences, workshops, FDPs, symposia, and more worldwide. Presently, RFI boasts 87 chapters in India and 18 chapters across Asia and beyond, organized into 5 distinct boards representing the West, East, South, North, and Central regions. Now, let me introduce our distinguished expert, Dr. Shesha Chabra Sir, a luminary in the realm of education. With over 2 decades of teaching experience, he brings a wealth of knowledge and insight to the table. His academic journey, crowned with a PhD in labor welfare, speaks volumes about his dedication to scholarship and research. Currently serving as an associate professor at Delhi College Business School in Indore, his contributions extend far beyond the confines of academia. As a prolific author and reviewer, his work resonates across national and international platforms, shaping discourse and driving meaningful change. His affiliations with esteemed journals and editorial boards underscore his unwavering commitment to excellence. Moreover, his role as a mentor and coordinator reflects his passion for nurturing entrepreneurship and fostering academic growth. In addition to his scholarly pursuits, his involvement in various professional associations and his stellar record as a section chair and facilitator further attest to his exemplary leadership and expertise. His impact extends beyond the classroom, earning recognition from prestigious institutions and organizations alike, including the Rotary Club, Amity Business School, and EMG SSM Trust. In essence, he embodies the spirit of innovation and excellence, inspiring generations of educators and learners. As we embark on this enlightening journey guided by his wisdom and expertise, Dr. Chabra sir will now share his knowledge and insights on the theme Case Study Method for Better Teaching. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Neha ma'am. Thank you very much for your kind words. Good evening, Ajay sir. Good evening, all my respected colleagues who are present over here in today's session. I believe Dean sir is also present. So a very good evening to you, sir. Uh, so all my respected colleagues, I should appreciate everyone that despite of all your busy schedule and a long day of work, you know, this shows your commitment towards development that you are finally here attending this session. And I would try and do justice with the time that I'm taking for yours. I have another hour with you, so I would try and take up questions from you. I would try and take up your experiences. I would try, so what I would be doing, as Neha ma'am said, I would be talking to you that how probably case studies can be used as a different method of teaching. Now, I'm pretty sure this is going to be interactive session. So at least I believe some of you should and must interact. Okay, sharing your insights, sharing your questions maybe, and only one request: whenever you do that, please raise your hand like this. Okay, so I would know that okay, somebody is there to respond, or somebody is there to ask me a question. Having said this, I'm pretty sure all of you, all my respected colleagues, have used case study in one or the other method, or in one or the other subject that you have been teaching, or so you have been fairly you have this fair idea about what case studies are, things like that. So I won't be taking you through the theories of what case studies are or what case studies are likely to be. So I would rather share with you my experience as a reviewer of case journals, and my own experience, as a student of case study method of learning. What have been my experiences with the class, and how differentially we have planned case studies, or we have done these case studies. So my experiences with you, I would try and share those experiences with you. So with this uh, and permission of everyone, I would like to start with uh, one second, please. One second, please. Give me a minute. Yeah, it's here. Okay, here we go. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, and I would I would run it in a non-presentation mode, because it should not happen that while I speak, you are still lagging on the slide. So in order to avoid any type of lag, I prefer not to put it full screen. Okay, so as I told you, this is gonna be interactive session. So what do you think is a case study coming from any field, irrespective of the field?
Sir, in case study, we generally discuss a particular scenario,
Okay.
and usually we discuss the challenges that we face in a particular organization or a company, right? Sometimes there are challenges which are already given, sometimes
Hmm.
there are no challenges given. So we tend to discuss the root cause of that particular problem, and then
Okay.
challenges. We look for the alternatives and then solutions.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Yes. Somebody has raised the hand. Please, Vinu Arora, ma'am, you have raised the hand.
Okay, yes, good evening, everyone. So
Good evening.
basically, it's a simulation-based, discussion. So
Absolutely.
it can be imaginary situation or it can be a real situation, and
Mm-hmm.
then students can really connect to the situation as a simulation.
Actually, yes. Absolutely. Agreed. See, what happens generally, my colleagues, that's what I said. I have got, a gathering of very learned colleagues this evening. So I should be thankful to RFI for this. Uh, so, generally what we tend to understand is that for any manager, the most crucial idea is to take a decision. Okay, you, me, in our own life roles, or any manager for that matter, or at any level that you are working in, taking a decision is the most critical idea. One. Two, as you go higher, okay, as you move higher in the ladder, organization ladder, you would find that you are a lone warrior. And then taking up a decision, at junior level, you have to take only smaller routine type of decisions, very less critical decisions, because they are always left to the higher ups. So taking a decision is a most critical idea. Through case studies, as you rightly said, ma'am, that this creates a simulation in the mind, this creates a simulation in the class, that if you can actually think over beyond the things. Have you, analyzed? Now, the only, I would not say, I would put it on at some point, but at times what happens that students take this case study more as a what should I say, an unseen passage. Okay, they read the question and they are trying to figure out that, okay, from this mark to this mark, this is the answer. Okay, that what manager should do. Types. Okay. Second, please don't mind me was saying, as I told you, I would be just sharing my experiences. Second, I always found that that most of the students, they find that let's not practice any case study. Who reads a case study? Come on. Okay, we would then and there solve the case study. Okay, so they write everything almost uh, that is available to them in that case study. Okay, so on a very generous side, that is what practice is generally. On a theoretical perspective, or on a practice basis, as we practice in class, then that is actually meant for creating a simulation. Okay, so simulation to develop an idea, to think about it, and to take a decision. I believe my learned colleagues understand this idea of critical thinking. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. So, Kashish ma'am, would you like to please, for the benefit of all of us, throw a bit light on what is critical thinking?
Uh, like this is how I tell my students as well. Like in critical thinking, you need to think a little out of the box
Okay.
rather than going for a particular set of ideas, like whatever is given to you. Try to go little out of the box and bring something unique in order to reach that particular approach to solve that particular case study.
Okay. Great. Datta ma'am, you have also raised your hand.
uh, s- Sir, critical thinking, like I always tell my students, when there is a question
Hmm.
or you need to write an answer based on critically analyze the situation,
Hmm.
critical thinking, in that scenario, you should analyze it, and analysis should not be biased on a side of thought. It should be taken in both the sides of the thought process, or both the sides of the case, or the both the sides of the problem should be taken into consideration while you are analyzing the situation. The more you do the analysis of the problem, the more you can critically think about it.
Hmm. Okay. Great. Maria ma'am, you have also raised the hand.
So,
See, ma'am,
so
please.
I was thinking it also involves, along with analysis, a little bit of judgment and evaluation
Hmm.
and problem solving, of course. So
Okay.
you're arriving at a decision and you're taking it case by case and no
Mm-hmm.
one size fits all.
Okay.
It
Absolutely
also
yes.
involves, like she said, thinking out of the box.
Thinking out.
Thinking of a holistic perspective, different perspectives, and then
Great.
arriving at what is the best solution for that particular
Great.
case.
Absolutely great. To my understanding, if I put to you, critical thinking means that have you considered all the pros and cons of the situation? Have you considered advantage, disadvantages? Have you considered the plus, minus, everything that can arise out of the situation, or that may arise out of the situation? Obviously, some of them would be your assumptions. Why I'm saying this? Because all decisions would have a short-term as well as long-term impact. So that's the reason why you need to understand that when you are trying to take up a decision, critical thinking becomes the more important, because while in critical thinking you are trying to evaluate it from all the all the dimensions. Have you seen, if you put ask me, I would put it simply that have you seen all the dimensions that are applicable to this situation? Not all dimensions may be given, so there are obviously in real life situation also we do certain assumptions. Okay, but the only question is that is this assumption valid? Okay, now how would you judge that is this assumption valid? The simple answer again to my mind would be that based on the case situation, okay, you cannot, you cannot catch up another bird. Okay, you have to see the birds that are flying in front of you. Okay, you cannot catch up bird from a different sky and say that, okay, this is what also can happen. See, at times while discussing the case, if you tell them that have you considered all possibility, then they would say that, sir, there can be earthquake also. Come on, that is totally rubbish. That you cannot consider that in every situation that there can be an earthquake. Okay, if you Google any problem, the fourth disease that you would get would be a life-threatening disease. So that's what I'm saying. That that is a wild chase, and there is a difference between a wild chase and a logical assumption. So while solving the case, try and imbibe, that is what I feel, that while solving the case, try and imbibe this idea that have you considered all dimensions of the problem. Okay, Kashish ma'am, you were saying that I would come on to that part, and I would include your topic. So go through them. Anything that you feel that this is a new term for you, I would be very happy to share that with. Close-ended cases, you are aware of it? Yes. Close-ended cases are the most simplest one. You have got a case, situation, and followed by question answer. So those are closed-ended cases. They are the most, as I was telling you in my opening remark, that some of the students view case study as unseen passage. So nothing can happen there. Okay, so those are those close-ended types. Open-ended, the major criteria of an open-ended case is that you have to identify the issue. As Kashish ma'am was saying, that you need to actually get down onto the root cause of the problem, and that is what is somewhat more difficult, because you need to understand this thing as a student to case study methods, that are we trying to solve the problem or the symptom to the problem. Please try and understand this thing. Okay, see, if the problem is work motive productivity is low, okay, and you figure out that due to motivation the productivity is low, now are you trying to treat the symptom, or are you trying to treat the problem? So please try and understand, at times it may be only a symptom to the problem, it may not be exactly the problem. Okay, so in a closed and in an open-ended cases, that's a huge challenge, okay, when it comes to a student to understand this thing. So as a faculty, how should we deal with an open-ended cases? The answer is fairly simple. Rather than in an open-ended cases, my advice to you, or my kind suggestion to you, would be that uh, with almost all cases these days you get teaching notes. Okay, so they would give you a hint as to what direction you can pinpoint the students, wherein you can actually lead the discussion upon things like that. So you can throw some hints to the students, so that if they can catch it up, and uh, that can lead to issue identification, because that is what happens in a live situation also. Life does not give us question answers. Okay, so in live situation you have to actually figure out that what can be the situation, or what can be the issues. A difference between case and caselet is, cases are generally longer in length, uh, you know extending beyond 1 pages, and then if you are taking up Harvard, it would can extend till 18, 19, 20 pages. Okay, caselets are minor, maybe a paragraph or two would be a higher, not beyond 2 paragraphs. And some of this, believe me, they have got this, uh, there is a huge amount of discussion that can be generated with cases. Now, only one small submission I would like to make, with due respect to all my colleagues. I've seen some of my faculty colleagues; they are quite motivated by the length of the case. Okay? It's not important that every time you need to have a lengthy case, just to make students go through it. I would come to that when I would talk about written and video case. I'll come to that. But at times it can be only 2 paragraphs or 1 paragraph, and that can generate enough discussion for the class. Have you tried that? The caselet. Has anyone, tried a caselet idea that maybe half a page, a paragraph in the discussion, actually went on for the entire class, almost. Has anyone tried this? Okay. So, ma'am, would you, uh, Tonali, so you would you like to share your experience?
Yes, I have tried, using caselets, short paragraph wherein, the students can actively, you know, try to understand the concept, actually what area there's a, obviously in a case there's a problem, right? So,
Yep.
uh, yeah, so whenever we are discussing a problem, for example, if I have to talk about training and development and what is the, exact issues in, in a specific area. So
Hmm.
when they get an idea about it through caselet, then they can understand wherein you have to, as a, supposedly he or she is a manager in a particular company, then
Hmm.
where and how to integrate solutions. So they actually get a brief idea, or you can say a brief simulation about the problem actually.
Great. And the good part is that you can, they can quickly read it also. Okay.
Yes, yes,
So
true,
that
sir.
always. Yes, Vinu ma'am. Vinu ma'am has raised
Yes,
the hand.
yes. So, sir, since I've been into teaching since last 18 years,
Great.
and I could compare the cases which I used to teach 10
Hmm.
years back, that generation, and today's generation. So
True.
there is a lot of difference in terms of reading habits, reading,
Actually, yes.
30, 40 pages of case.
Hmm.
So keeping in mind the audience and their memory retention and the reading habits, sometimes you need to convert case into short caselets. So
Actually, yes.
keeping the audience in mind, we need to summarize the case, and then during discussion, you can elaborate in small cluster the
Hmm.
main case.
That's great. That's great.
So
Very,
that
very well said, ma'am.
yeah, so
Very
that's
well said.
what I'm facing these days. The challenge of how to convert
Actually,
case
yes.
into caselet, being the audience.
Absolutely, yes. Ma'am, I would suggest you one thing
Yeah.
that, at times you used a caselet directly. There are very good, beautiful caselets which are available, and some of them are so good. Which subject area do you come from, ma'am?
I come from HR and OB.
That's great. That's great. So, absolutely, there are some very good cases, and you can actually take up those cases, and they would be very great uh, source of discussion, and to explain certain idea. Well, what you can do is that, ma'am, even for that matter, you can take up. Say at times, what you can do is that you start with a case. You start the class with the case,
Okay.
okay, and then you unfold the topic through that.
Right.
So even that can actually also, be another approach that you can even try. Okay.
Right.
So, continuing with that idea. So, as Vinu ma'am touched upon, so I would continue with the my next point, and then I would get you on to that. Written and video cases. So, in order to shorten the length of the case, if you can have actually, some video shown, okay, like say I give an example. This example I keep quoting on many forums. Have you heard about a company as Mitti Cool? Mitti Cool. Mitti
Yes.
Cool is an earthenware company based at Gujarat. Okay, I'm not getting into the details of the company, but at time, I would tell you why named as Mitti Cool. There are earthenware company based out of Gujarat, and what they do is that they have made an earthenware refrigerator. Okay? A fairly simple, beautiful earthenware refrigerator which can keep the things fresh for 2 days. Okay, so it's made out of uh, mitti, and that means soil. That is why its name is Mitti. Okay, Mitti Cool is the name of the company. Now, somehow a smaller refrigerator which is aimed at rural India is done by Godrej, which is known as Chotu Cool. Now, this Chotu Cool would require uh, electricity. Okay, So if you go on YouTube, you would find a so-called advertisement, not exactly advertisement, but a brand placement of Chotu Cool. Okay, that is hardly 2.5 minutes. Okay, so that would explain you essential features of Chotu Cool, what Chotu Cool can be used for, to keep, say, um, cold drinks and other things, as a fridge, you can use it. Okay, so it's, actually they are trying to project it as a solution to rural India, and thereby you can, you can go on comparing with this idea of Chotu Cool and Mitti Cool. And so, you have already shown them this 2 minutes of video of Chotu Cool, so they understand now what Chotu Cool is all about. Okay, then you introduce them to Mitti Cool, and now, since that is there, now you can lead the case. Okay, now the case can be set in a direction. I want to teach this from an entrepreneurship perspective. I want to teach it from a branding perspective. I want to teach it in a rural marketing perspective. So my point telling you is that what, I derive from Vinu ma'am's point, that at times it is not necessary that you go on with the full length of the case. You can cut short the cases. You can actually replace them by a video. Okay, if that is available, may not be with all products you would find. Okay, or advertisements may not be, that very effectively used, but you can actually put in one or two advertisements just to show their features, or just to, based on what perspective you are discussing that case with. At times you would find that, there are length video cases which are available. I have taught some of them, uh, while we were with De Montfort University, UK. So I taught some of them, which talked about, how different styles of management work, how systems approach, say for example, works in practically in the company. Okay, so they have, a full length case of 30-40 pages, 30-40 minutes. Followed by that, they have got a worksheet wherein, you have to fill in some part from the video what you observed, and then it asks on your reflections, what ma'am was saying, your analysis of that. So even that can be another part of video cases. The only challenge with this docudrama type of video cases is it's difficult actually to hold the interest of, of this generation. What again Vinu ma'am was saying, it's difficult to hold the generation for such long with a, with some type of a docudrama. They are not interested in watching that. What can be the other sources of video cases? What I generally use in some of even my trainings or some of my programs is that you can use some part from a Bollywood movie or a Hollywood movie to make them understand the concept, that you use, say, any sports movie, army based movie, something like that, for an exemplary for an exemplary idea of leadership. Okay. Yes, Kashishma, please go ahead.
Sir, in addition to your point, I liked your idea of adding videos from movies, etc. That is really very great, and this is something which students can easily connect on, right?
True.
Apart from this, what I use for video case study is, like there are many scenarios videos available on YouTube, for example bad customer services, right,
True.
which people have actually recorded and uploaded, just
Yes,
to file a petition against the company or something, right?
absolutely
So
right.
I use these kind of scenarios as well. Like I ask students to imagine themselves as the part of the organization, and this was the customer of your company, and how would you deal with the situation and all. So I think this can also be a good
Yes,
idea.
ma'am.
Like
Why
we
not?
are introducing a real scenario with the students.
Why not? You have got actual videos of shoplifting,
Yes.
consumer pilferages, that, consumer mishandling things and whatnot. Even if you are talking about, say, in HROB cases, you have got stress. How people ransack the entire office. Okay, being, that is the extreme level of burnout. What they do. So there are real video footages which are available on that thing, and then you can show them the only footage, like Vinu ma'am, I was suggesting you, like you can show them that footage and then start discussing about, stress management and what Kashish ma'am was saying. If you would have been a manager in this place, what would you have done? So, my point that I'm trying to tell you is that try and use different combinations. Okay, one fit for all. Okay, how should we use this idea in teacher education college students, ma'am? can you name some few of, say, some of these subjects? Like, say, I use one of these videos with me as to why, why you should be a teacher. Okay, there was this beautiful narration of another 2 or 3 minutes which narrated about this idea that why you should be a teacher. Okay, what are the challenges and what is the good point and what is the bad point of being a teacher. So plus, you know there are many other, I should not use the word educational, but yes, there are many other good videos which are available, which based on, again, your subject idea. Okay, there are, again, as I told you, don't try to convert. See, sorry. The challenge is, at times I have seen some of my colleagues, what they do, they would sit in the class, they would set on the TV, they would set on the presentation, and then there would be a narration. Okay, like an interview type. So there would be a narration of, say, half an hour or 1 hour, 40, 45 minutes explaining, say, strategy. Okay, what should be done, what not should be done. So, they would sit there. Okay, students, you have learned this, you have learned this. They would just brief it, and that's all for the class. Nobody's listening to it. So, that's just not your replacement. My point is that. Okay, please don't mind me saying this. This is not our replacement. This is something that you're, you use in interviews. I'm not against using interviews. I tell you, if you want, you can note it down. uh, Use your interviews. Say, for example, uh, Sachin Tendulkar gave an interview to, if I'm not wrong, BMW Melbourne. Okay, or some good car company at Melbourne. And he was trying to talk about, if you have got, any strategy teacher sitting over here, he was trying to talk about that, how competitive strategy works. It said hardly, I believe, 5-7 minutes that he spoke about that, while he and Rahul Dravid were, batting around. So what exactly happened, and how did he use the strategy? So something like this. Okay, that how do they use, so that's what I'm saying, that nothing, please remember only one good thing, that cases are not a replacement to you. Okay, they are complementary to you, they are not your replacement. That today I'm not gone prepared type, so let me use a case. I'm sorry to say this, some of the colleagues actually do it. Please avoid doing it. Okay, I would touch this point later on. Okay, so there can be success or failure cases. Now, cases does not essentially mean that, you have to quote some big name or something like that. It can stem from your experience also. It can stem from experience that might have happened with your colleague. So, ma'am, you were asking me that, like, Sheila, ma'am, you were asking me that, how to use it in teachers' classes. For that matter, in any class, you can always have a experiential sharing session. Okay, either by yourself or call upon someone. Okay, like, I give you an example. Okay, at one point of time, what we did was that, there was a startup, and what we did is that I carried some problems from this startup. They actually wanted some idea from me that what they should be doing. So I carried out their problem of the startup, that what that startup was facing, and went on into class to discuss that. Okay, I took some, I deleted all those formats which can, give them any hint about that identity, and then I've shown them certain documents, like, okay, this is this, and this is the problem. Okay, so tell me that what can this startup do actually to overcome these problems. So they went on to discuss that this can be done, that can be done. Some solutions were jotted down. I went back to this startup and gave them this solution, that if you like, you can, pick up some of this solution. And at another point of time, what we did was that we prepared a case. Okay, we invited this gentleman to be a part of discussion. So he was sitting at the back of the class, and we tried and generate a discussion in the class. And then he was, he came up and he was listening to all those discussion, and then he actually told students standing up over there that what exactly they did in this situation. Okay, so what exactly you do in this situation, how did you dealt with such situation. So you can always have this, what you call as, even as a written solution to it. You can always have a part one, part two type of problem, that in part one you give to the students, let them discuss the problem. Let them, go through that. Okay, what can be done, what cannot be done. Let them solve that type of. And then you actually present them the part two. This part two would give them an idea as to what exactly the company has done. They can gauge themselves, they can benchmark themselves that, okay, this is where I was closer to it. Not all, cases would give you this part one, part two, but yes, some of them are very beautifully done. Okay. So I was telling you about this success failure type. So if you teach entrepreneurship or any such subject, I would say that if you teach, say, 10 cases in your subject, use 7 of them as failures. Okay, 7 should come from the failed companies who have, miserably failed. Okay, because I probably believe that failure has got more lessons to teach than what success can do. So 3 success lessons and then failure lessons, a tone of failure, trying to tell that, how bigger companies, even so-called best companies which are doing good in market, they fail to incorporate or they fail to foresee small things, and that's how, things start getting out of it. So, that's where I personally believe a success failure things can come over. Then you can always have a function specific case. As I told you, the subject based on the case that is specifically telling. One thing more, it should not be only function specific cases, but it should be even aspect specific. That, okay, through this case, I am talking to you this idea. Okay? I cannot generally say that this is a case study based on branding. No, exactly a typical point or typical idea in branding. This is what I am talking to you. I'm not talking to you entire branding. Okay, I'm talking to a specific idea in branding that this is this. Okay, so you can talk about a specific area. You can talk about a multifunctional area. If you teach strategy, obviously you need to diversify the case, because a problem may not be only linked with one of the what should I say? Only one of the area. Okay, it can be linked to multiple areas. So you might actually be looking forward to a multiple solution. Combine a case with a role play, and that would become a case role play type. Okay, that you actually narrate. Some of communication teachers, they widely use this role plays. Even HROB people use this role plays in their classes. So see, case simulations or case studies, as we would started discussing, simulations, they're not only based on pen and paper simulation. No, there can be a real life situation. There can be actually a role play wherein you would find that people actually engage into discussing things. So that's what I'm saying. Even in one course that you are teaching or one subject that you are teaching, try and incorporate different forms of it. Okay, different forms of it. But please keep in mind, at the end, they have to pass an examination also. Okay, either from the university or from your institution, they have to pass an examination also. So keep in mind that examination perspective also. That student should not feel, that we did 6 things or we did 8 things and finally exam had the 9th thing. Okay, so they should have a fair idea of how to solve an exam based case study types. So give them that idea also. So that would be always beneficial. Okay, so as I told you, these are some of the points. I'm not dealing with, as I told you, case studies. Don't use case study as a replacement for lectures. Students would catch it up very quickly. We are dealing with a very smart generation, and they would be quick to catch that today you are unprepared. So hence you are giving a case study. Okay. This is something that I would like to dwell upon for another 2-3 minutes, and then we move ahead. Most of my faculty colleagues ask me that what should be the ideal length of the case. As I told you, with due respect to all my colleagues, some of them are, actually say they are inspired only by the length of the case. Okay, please don't be. Vinuma was saying it correct. See, even in WhatsApp, if there is a read more type of line written, today's generation would even not read the message. Itta lamba message, yaar. How long this message has been running like. Who writes such a long message? Okay. So, up switch, think about it. They are not, how shortened the generation has gotten. from reading books to writing letters to writing emails to WhatsApp to, only snaps. So they would, make a face feeling bad, feeling okay, feeling this, that, and they would, create a streak. They would keep sending snap every day. Okay. So think about it. But then think about this thing also, that they are actually, they are looking forward to a update on the situation. Okay. Like, so what I mean by this. Supposingly, the case that you are dealing with may be published in, say, 2020, 2021, 22, some year like this. 2 years hence, that system either or that problem either might have been solved, it might have been aborted, okay, it might have been altogether aborted type of situation. So, most important is that you ask the students to actually say, look into the present scene. Okay? If you're not able to find the problem solution type, but at least look into the present scene as to what is the present scenario with this company or with this functional area. Okay. So please look at them for this idea. Ma'am, I generally say it's up to entirely up to you. Okay. At one point of time when I taught OB, I used two stories of Bikram Betal. Okay, to talk decision making to them, that how decision in certain situation as a leader, what factors do you need to consider while taking a decision. So I used two of the Vikram Betal case stories. Okay, those English case stories, I use those of them. Okay, many people I've seen use Panchatantra or other stories, they to actually they use it as a case study. Try it. Okay, my only request to you would be that please try it whenever and when however you get a chance. See, our idea uh, is to educate the student. Okay, may not be always using a bigger companies or a smaller companies example, or maybe only using a company's example. Okay, because even if you look into, say, but based, if you are using a story, say if you like this idea of using Panchtantra or Vikram Betal type of story, use the story which has got some relevance, okay, with the commerce, with with something that you can link back to this thing. Okay, otherwise he would be out of context. Yes, we know, ma'am.
Yeah, sir. I totally agree with you. One class I used Tom and Jerry to
That's
uh,
great.
to display and to demonstrate strategies.
Okay, how conflict management in that goes.
Yeah. So the conflict management, strategy formation,
Hmm.
then critical thinking, and then adapting to the change. Your
Hmm.
next step is ready. As the Tom is changing the strategy, the Jerry is also changing the strategy. So you're very right that it really connects when all these characters are taken.
Actually, yes, ma'am. That's what I'm saying. It's up to us. See, it's up to us. More innovative you are towards the class, the more better you would feel. And it's not, again, I would talk about the same idea. It's not about the length of the case. Please understand. What you want people to carry back, that is most important. Even if a 20-page case, would not do anything to the student, what a page or a paragraph can do. A small video can do for you, would not, a 20-page. Only thing is that you have to actually research it. Let me give you another idea. I was talking to one of my, colleagues of late, and during our discussion, we were, we as teachers, we enjoy criticizing our students that this generation, they don't like to read, they don't do this, they don't do that. And he made a very good remark that if a teacher can deliver something which is not that easily available on Google, okay, or not, available on some YouTube channel, people would come to you. Okay. So, something that you can actually, and that is where I said it, that is where your innovation, your style of teaching, your style of ideas, they can actually come. Yes, Mahima ma'am, please.
Hello, sir. I want to say hello.
Yes, ma'am, please,
Hello.
please go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, sir. I want to say as the ma'am said, that first of all, we make our teaching interesting by giving the examples of Tom and Jerry, Panchtantra, etc., as you have said. And after that, we move towards the cases. First of all, short cases, and then we move further towards the long size case. By this, we make the students we make our teaching interested, and students are and the student get the opportunity to give different type of answer and deal with the different type of situation and how to handle that situations in their real life situation, or when they are working in their organization, etc.
Thank you, Mahima ma'am. Ma'am, only one point I would like to, with your due permission, I would like beg to differ on this thing. Ma'am, I strongly feel that, the size of the case or the length of the case or the type of the case should be derived from the topic. Okay. So I generally, personally, if you ask me as a person, I would generally not suggest anything that, you move from a small case to a longer case. I don't generally
But
do that.
But sir, actually, I am feeling that the student of present time is not very interested in reading
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
long
I'm
paragraphs.
coming to it. See, ma'am, what happens that if you're giving them a lengthy case, now give that in a group. Don't give it as an individual. In an
Yeah.
individual thing,
Hmm,
you would always
hmm.
fail. Okay.
Yes, we can do
So
like
give
that.
them as a group. Okay. That
Hmm.
group assignment strategy would
Huh,
always work for you. Even in
huh.
now, length of the case, that means even 2-page case is very lengthy for them.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
that's
sir,
what
I
I'm saying.
agree. Hmm.
That's
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm saying, that this is, please, this is my perspective. I may be completely wrong. I'm not trying to
No, sir.
override your ideas, ma'am. You are completely right in
No,
that.
sir.
But
No, sir.
my-
I am totally agreed with you. If we give the cases in a group or cluster of 2 or 3 students, and when they matlab, together read that case, then it's okay.
because at times what would happen, my ma'am, that at least some of them, at least one or two, if say you make the group of 3 also, at least one of them would come at least reading half of the case. Okay, if not full of the case, but at least half of the case he would come prepared with. So even that way, because see, we face a differential challenge in that thing. So I'm not getting on to as to the teaching challenges onto that, but that is where at times I don't give them any time. I give them the case then and there itself when I declare half an hour, because I strongly feel that in real life situations there may be chances that your bosses would tell you half an hour before a task, and you have to actually prepare and deliver the task.
Yes, sir.
You cannot,
Uh,
and in life
yes,
we don't always enjoy the luxury of time.
yes, sir. I
So they should
understand.
also understand this thing.
Hmm.
It's not about the
Time
case.
and
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. So, my
time
ma'am,
management is also necessary. Hmm.
absolutely, ma'am. So,
Hmm.
what that's what my point is. I try and make sure that my assignments or my assessments, see, if you are teaching in a private university, or if you are a standalone type of institution, you have got this luxury. In a university system, sorry to say, university has their own patterns, which I don't criticize anyways. Okay, with due respect to all universities. But having said this, if we have got this luxury of designing our own paper, then please make sure that you are actually giving them a wide variety of ideas. Okay, so use that wide variety of ideas, and that's where the things they would actually feel that is because all assessments should carry some objectives. Okay, some objectives should be attached to the assessment, that okay, with this assessment at the end what you would learn. Okay, so that is always great thing to do. So I would quickly move on. What can be the sources from where you can pick up those cases? How many of you have got a Harvard Business School account? HBS account kitno ke paas hai? How many of you have actually made an educator account on HBS? Great. Veenu Arora ma'am has. I believe. Anyone else? If not, please do it. Only thing that it requires, okay, Dr. Ram Bhadra, you have also got great Dr. Ram. If not, please do it today. Google the same thing, how HBS educator account. Very simple process. They would, they would verify your account, and based on the verification, they would grant you access to an educator account. And something great can, you can find some of the great case studies. As I told you, the only issue would be that it would be, all IB cases, and they would not be even less than, I believe the lowest case would be what, 5-6 pages starting with this. So that would be, but please use it. That, this are a very good source of, if you actually want to dive. And the good part is that even HBS would allow you access to certain simulations. Okay, so try and look into that, how this simulation can work. Okay, so at least one of this simulation you can carry back and use in your class. So even that can happen. If you are looking forward to an Indian cases, many universities abroad, Kellogg's, many universities abroad have got Indian, an Indian chair, or study for India type of chair on their thing, and they have got a specific case center, okay, wherein they give you these cases free of charge. Actually, they have got some universities are very generous on that thing. You can sign in. Uh, so, ma'am, this, this cases, Tonali ma'am, this cases, this are all the sources from where you can get these cases. So, some of these universities you can actually get into uh, newsletters, and you can just give your email, and they would keep sending you their email. So they are real life cases that, how, say, for example, years ago, a case was published that how was the Nokia India's experience. Okay. So if you remember 3310, one of the famous models that Nokia has produced. So that's what I'm saying, that, some of them are very generous in giving you. I've given you an example of Boston University Library, e-Gyan Kosh, research gates, other uh, things, other universities, maybe, some edited books. And why not, why not some of you collaborate and actually go on to publish your own book? Okay, think about this idea. Okay, that why don't we come up with, say, our own book on cases? Okay, getting a book published these days is comparatively easy. Okay, comparatively less costly also, and easy also. So if you can, throw open this idea that you can contribute a case, okay, and no profit, only on cost, say, cost basis. If you cannot bear the entire cost, or if your institution doesn't bear the entire cost, say, in our example, it's my institution which bore the entire cost of getting the book published. Otherwise, even if that is not so, you can charge the author on the cost basis. Don't try to make profit out of it. Okay, be an editor, write get the cases, okay, as many as you can, and then get it published with some publisher. So you would have a ready, what should I say, a ready reckoner of the cases that would be available, your own Indian cases. Okay, that is something, a small length. You can fix up the length, okay, that no case to exceed, say, 3 pages, 4 pages, something like that. So book pages would be simple, they would be still squeezed. Or you can turn it into an A4. Some publishers give you this option of A4 publication as well. So that's what our point is, that why don't you try and bring up your own book, or why don't you try and write a case? So that's where, I would like to end this idea with the with the small experience of me as a reviewer, and as you know uh, as an as a reviewer and as an author to some of the cases, how to write a case. I'm not getting into the details of it. Another 3-4 minutes I would be quickly explaining you this thing. You can, look into external, through and through, say, secondary sources. Okay, the examples which are, or the data which is already available in the public domain. So that's that's a public data. So you can gather this public data from all the sources and put it at one place and make it a meaningful case. ICMR does this. Okay, if case review, they do this. So you can also do this. Similar lines, you can also, you can adopt a similar line. You pick up any good story which you feel that students, yes, would be interested in this story. Okay. And, or, some type of a catchy trend, what you feel. Like, say, if you're coming from finance, cryptos can be a catchy trend. Uh, if you're coming from marketing, you can talk about various ideas into marketing. These days, Insta-based marketing or social media marketing is very catchy. So trending, you can pick up some example from that and narrate as a case. Okay, that how does that company use say Instagram for marketing, and where does the company missed, and things like that. So that can, actually students can relate better to it. You can actually make them visit their Insta page and then hand over them the Insta, this, your case. So even that can actually help you. You can narrate it as an example. Like Vinu ma'am was saying, why do you always want to use a written case? You can narrate it as an example. You can put some pointers in the PPT and then narrate it as an example. Okay, a quick narration of say 5-10 minutes. Make them visit the website and the Insta page, and then you quickly go on to the discussion of this page. That what is there, what is so bad, what is so good. Again, based on the subject that you are talking about, or you can make it precisely a company based type of a case. You can actually go to a company, ask their permission that you want to write a case on them. Be sure about that, why you want to write a case upon them. Say, for example, I give you an idea. Say some company has been awarded employee of the year types, that they are one of the best employers. Okay, say under top 10, top 50. So what exactly goes them to make say employer. Okay, these days video editing and things are very simple. Okay, so you can actually take in short interviews of HR, say for CEO, from other people, from some employees, to actually tell them, you can show them the facilities. You can take a video of this facility. Only one precaution: if you are doing it with the company, for the company, two things. One, please, before you actually publish it or you use it as a case, show it to the company that they are okay with it. Okay, and please, don't obtain a, what should I say, a written permission, not a verbal permission. Obtain a written permission from them that this is what it would be and this is how it would be published. Because see, even if that is an academic purpose, but then that would be that would go in public. Okay, that would go in actually in this information would actually travel in people. So they should be okay with it. Okay, in all senses they should be okay with it, that they're happy getting this case published. Okay, on the reverse of it, the last point that I would like to make about it: what should be the format of writing such case? Very simple. Go to maybe case folio, or maybe or any case center, or any case, European case clearing house, any one of them. You would find author's guideline. In author's guideline, you look forward to download the all good case would give them case focus, for example. They would all give you a guideline as to what the case should contain, like, okay, larger framework of case. Okay, that this is what it should contain. The teaching note should contain all this things. So answer those questions, fit in information in their format, and the chances are there, in less of the reviews, you would go through them. Okay, you would go through, and this they would publish it. So it would not only add a credit to you, but exactly see how happy your students would be and how proud they would feel that when uh, your colleagues or you would be using your own case study. Okay, think about it, that you are giving your own case to the student to discuss about it. Okay, and most of these case clearing houses, most of these case publishing houses want you that have you discussed the format of the initial drafts of this case in the class, and then you have to give them some proofs for that type of a thing. Okay, that actually, yes, this was been discussed and these are the changes, say draft 1, draft 2. This have been the changes which has been brought after discussion, because we believe that cases should be self-explanatory types. So try and gather the first-hand feedback without letting them know the author. Try and gather the first-hand feedback from the class as to say uh, what has been what are the changes. As a reader, okay, you discuss the case, but are you able to link to it? Are you able to see? So you would have the teaching notes. So from teaching notes, keep asking them certain questions, that are they able to relate to what you are trying to say. You have made up a case in entrepreneurship. Are they not trying to get into or swayed away into branding? Is that something which is not happening? Or are you talking about entrepreneurship and they are trying to get swayed away into funding? Okay, and then finances, and then they take a different route. So any such things, you would be fairly clear about that. Is the writing not clear? Is the meaning of the case not clear? They would collect that feedback, and that would actually help you get the case published. Okay. So it's 7 o'clock. I would like to take rest on this thing. Somebody asked me, I would take up this question which has been asked to me. Uh, Tonali ma'am, I believe the sources, I would show this slide again. These are the sources, some of the sources that you can take up with. Okay. Besides this, even some journals also publish case. Some, multidisciplinary journals also carry some case. Okay. So you can use that also. Kashish ma'am went on to ask, "Sir, can you please share the link to register sign up from educator's account here?" Kashish ma'am, I would try and do that. Please give me a minute. Meanwhile, if you have got any other question, you can ask, or if you want to share anything, you can share that. This is what you can use. Let me, just show one good quick thing to you. Okay, in anyone would like to ask me anything, or any reflections, if you would like to share, else we close this session.
Participants, if you have any queries, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Please, Meenu ma'am, please go ahead.
Sir, I'm seeking for one suggestion.
Yes, please.
Whenever I'm writing a case study, is it okay to write without any kind of statistical data?
It is perfectly okay, ma'am. It's perfectly okay.
Right.
It's not necessary that, again, depending on the subject, it may not be very necessary. Say, in example, if you are trying to talk about some behavioral attributes, okay, you are talking about, say, manager's perception towards someone, how, distorted perception can, say, can kill the team, say, for example.
Right.
So you need not to have any data for that.
Thanks.
So Neha ma'am, once again, thank you very much for a very great conduction of the session. Thank you RFI, especially Ajay Jain sir, all my colleagues, the sponsors to this session, to this entire FDP, and most importantly, all my respected colleagues who have joined me today after after having a very long day, and it's already 7. I don't want to take much of your time. So I wish all of you a best of learning, best of all the best for your futures, and have a very good evening. Thank you, Neha ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.